Hey folks, welcome to the vlog, week 14. And look how much the plants have really sprouted. There's our Superboy, about 2.5 feet long, 8 or 10 sprouts. By the way, this fire was that tree. You can't see it now because it's gone, but it was just as big as this tree. Getting bigger, it was right here. We just spent 4 hours burning the whole thing. But here we are in our female hop yard. Real quick, I just wanted to give you a quick couple seconds view. But bam! These things are 3 feet tall. And what's happening is the commercial plants that I planted last year, like this Zeus for example, that were actually plants that I had started from sprouts from the USDA and had in pots. So they had a head start over, for example, this is our HB 2000-53, and here is Chinook. So these Chinook is going to take over the trellis, the shade, the sun. And then next door you got Nugget, which is giant, and my poor little plant, it was grown from a seed last year. So I've made an executive decision. We are going to whack all of our commercial plants. Look at them down there. Triple Pearl and Centennial. Bam! And the rest, Dinky Winky. So we are going to do a cutting of the bull shoots because these are 99% bull shoots. If you watched my video on bull shoots, you'll know what I mean. Look at that one. That bad boy's 3 feet tall, all by itself. This one here too. So, probably tomorrow, we're gonna do the duty. But for now, let's go inside and check out Hop's World. Well, before we go there, I thought I would stop here on the porch and check out what has arrived. Prizes for me. And boy, am I happy. Our core string, folks. 400 strands of core string. Of course, a box that big. This is 85 pound. If we have plants that break this, we got monsters. So we should be good. And wow, live plants. But this box is going to have to wait for next week's vlog, folks. We're going to open that later. But hey, while I got you here, I was checking all the numbers on our channel, and 90% of the people that are watching aren't subscribed. So subscribe, folks. You won't miss any of our blogs, any of our tips. Hit that button right now before we go any further. Support Hop's World and free tips. Where can you get free stuff anywhere? Right here. Even if you don't subscribe, I appreciate you watching. So, back to our regularly programmed channel. I'm so happy when I receive prizes, especially this box. Woo-hoo-hoo, what's in there? Da-da-da-da! Well, starting at the bottom, working our way up. The Triumph Twins, some of the leaves at the bottom are starting to turn yellow. A little bit old age, I guess. Climbing up the ladder here. Still looking pretty. Some of these cones, the problem is, can you hear that? Sure feels almost ready. I'm assuming they're going to dry out more. There's a fatty here. Yeah, it's still green. Definitely. But that's a pretty one. And big fatty Zeus cones. This one up here too. And hopefully full of seeds. For those you don't know, these are our Triumph Twins and a Zeus plant This Zeus I really hope to get out of here shortly and plant over with our males so we could do some breeding with a female Zeus. But the Triumph twins are 2 clones from USDA Triumph. It was an experimental variety when we got them. Cuttings from the USDA like 3 years ago. They're under our 600 watt LED light now since January, I guess. And they've been flowering. We did pollinate them with our male pollen from a wild French male plant right outside of Castle in southeast France. Neat story from my good friends from France, other hop breeders. So I'd say another 2 weeks maybe. And we are going to chop these down and do something totally new with no more Triumph twins, maybe 1 Triumph baby. Maybe separate the twins in 2 separate containers. I thought about putting one outside, but there they are, the Triumph twins. Let's check out the dungeon. Hey folks, I'm going to start out here in the dungeon down in Grow Room 2 with the hops babies. And what I did was I turned off the blurple LED lights because it's hard to see anything, and I just put on this one white LED hanging down just to get an idea what the plants look like. We did chop these a little while ago, and you can see everyone is growing back 2 tops now, pretty much. We've really abused these plants in this grow room. I'll be honest with you, with the temperatures, with the water. We dried them out the last week. We lost a handful of plants. And that's the whole idea in creating plants that are strong. Change the pH, change the soil, change the temperature. Abuse them. And only the strong will survive. And what we have now in here, believe it or not, probably can't tell, but I noticed from definitely spread from our Pacific Gem, and we'll show you what happened in Grow Room 1, but we have spider mites. Yay! But fortunately, these are not going to be in here much longer. I checked the weather forecast best I could. It's a little scary. My mom always said never plant plants outside till Mother's Day. Here where I am in southeast Pennsylvania in the United States. That's pretty much a general rule, but these plants are ahead of last year from when we germinated them, and we're going to plant them this weekend because I want to get them out of this grow room. It's just infestation easily of spider mites, and they need real sunlight, real soil. They need to start taking off, catching up with the plants that are outside. So that's the plan. At least get them outside, maybe in some shade area. I don't like to throw them right out in the sun, but it's supposed to get cold in the next couple days, one night down to about 39 degrees. That's a little scary, but after that, I'm taking a chance. They're going outside. We have more seeds actually germinating. I want to get in here if possible, but I really want these to grow this year and flower. You can see some actually, I don't know if you could tell, dried out. Some I lost. There were some definitely mutated that there was no hope anyway. A couple mutations are still growing. Pretty interesting. So, let's Grow Room 2 with the hops babies. Off to Grow Room 1. Into Grow Room 1. My favorite plant in the whole wide world. Check her out, Sunbeam. And look at the flowers. We're definitely going to have cones real soon here. Hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Tons of burrs on this plant popping out all around. And we burned the one tip. It got too close to the light. I pulled it down. But this plant looks like it's going to have plenty of cones on the other tips too out here. Yeah, I'm really happy. And We have some of our other hops babies that are holding over. We're out of room. Some Chinook and Zeus crosses. Here, I didn't really expect our smooth cone to do much because I never actually trained it on a little trellis. And this is how I've done a lot of them, I'll be honest with you. Our Triumph twins, I would usually let go something like this and they would just climb up here in the grow room and attach onto a cord. But this one's starting to flower just now. I don't know if you could see, a little too close. Let me see if I can zoom in. It's hard to focus with the leaves behind. But this plant looks really pretty. The new growth is really healthy looking and beautiful. I'm going to jump over here all the way around to our Polaris. This is over typically 20% alpha acids, 3% oils. I really want to try to get some seeds out of this baby this year. At least inside here if I can. Just starting to show signs of a tip of some white hairs, I suspect, and some cones. I thought I saw some others, but it's holding out on me here. I really want to get some cones and get some seeds from this and get it outside as soon as possible and cross it with our Superboy this year. And we have Tahoma that I actually gave up on, but damn, she came back pretty, and all the new growth, look at it, but look at the old growth. I was really screwed up in the beginning. Even down the bottom, it's sprouting like a son of a gun. And this one definitely has some white hairs, at least up here. If you look, it climbed up, caught onto the extension cord, past the timer, way out here at the end. Ta-da! Can you see that? Let me zoom in. Well, kind of hard to see. There's not much light there, but that's definitely a bunch of white hairs and some cones. And then our Lupaloides, as it turns out, Victoria decided it was going to be called Batman if it was a boy, because look at the shape of the leaves. She said, looks like a bat wings. But as it turns out, it's not a boy. And the other option that she was hoping for, notice, pretty white little hairs. It's a girl. So it is rightfully named Supergirl, as it is definitely the biggest and strongest plant here in our grow room. There's some really cool looking white hairs. So you know what it's time for? Pollinating this bad boy. But here's my dilemma. And here's my issue with Grow Room 2 and having spider mites on my hops babies. Notice these leaves. If you look back 2 weeks ago of our Pacific Gem, was super infested with spider mites. And this is way up high on the plant. This plant is starting to get infested. I mean, I still have probably 6 weeks to go till these cones are ready to pick to get my seeds. I cannot let this plant get infested. I cannot let my babies get infested. I'm seriously tempted to start spraying, maybe neem at least, with some dish soap. But what I did, made an executive decision. I went online yesterday and I ordered a rush order of predatory mites. And they're designed to eat spider mites, 4,000 of them. I'm hoping that's enough. When you add it up and look at one of these leaves and you think if there's 10 spider mites on each leaf, there's like 100 leaves on a plant, that's 1,000 spider mites right away. So I'm not sure how many mites, spider mites, the predatory mites eat. But we're going to try, hopefully. The babies are going outside, and I've never had a problem with spider mites outside. The moisture, the dampness. I really did bad with the humidity in here, keeping it under control. It gets really warm and hot. It's humid now because it's raining outside. But as you can see, it's 67% humidity. But it got down to 27%. really bad. And the problem was I bought a humidifier. I have a humidifier. There it is, unplugged. But the tank is so small that I had to fill that thing twice a day. It was down here in the dungeon, just didn't work. So anyway, back to our beautiful sunbeam. So you know what we're going to do now? We are going to pollinate these with our male pollen from our wild male. Let's do that. Alright, so what I have here in the bottom of the bag is some small parts of flowers of a male hops plant. You can't see too well, and the plastic bag is coated almost a yellowish color with male pollen. As you can see, it says wild male from Provence. Provence is an area in southeast France, pollen hops. And this plant, I have pictures of it grew up a tree, big tree, right out front of a antique castle in southeast France near Nice and Monte Carlo, in that area. If you look it up on a map, the area called Provence. But the plant is nowhere near any water, so it's definitely a wild indigenous plant. And the area it was found is really dry and hot. My friend who's a breeder over there in France, who I got this pollen from, told me that this is basically the Neo-Mexicanus of France. So we're going to pollinate all the plants in here that we can, and hopefully we get something special from the babies. Let's do it. Alright, so in order to pollinate these, hops are typically wind pollinated. So all I do is I take the part of the branch that the cone is starting to form on, and I dip it into the pollen. I give it a nice little shake, and ta-da! She is pollinated. And I open the bag and let her come out. Man, this branch is way down here. Open sesame. Ta-da! And check it out. You can see even little male pieces on the white hairs. And just shaking the bag, apparently I could see a little hole and I could see powder going out. And so I'm going to pollinate these today. I'm going to wait another week or two. Hopefully the Polaris flowers a little more and some of the other ones. And I'm going to pollinate them again. At the end, I'm going to open this bag up and just blow it in here in the room in order to just try to air pollinate all of these. So I'm going to continue along with each little bar, they call them, with the white hairs. The pollen, just so you know, when we store it, we keep it in the freezer. And it is good for up to a year. I use pollen once 2 years. But most of the pollen after a year isn't any good. This is 3-4 months old now, I think, if I recall. So we're still hoping it's good. It was good on the Triumph twins. We definitely had a seed or two in the one hops cone that I opened. So we're going to pollinate the rest of these and then head over and check out our boys in the male hop yard. Let's do it. Hey folks, real quick over here at the male hop yard. Here's Rocky, kicking ass. Got some 3-foot long shoots. We got to get him tied up. Our new Mexicana wild male that we used for mostly breeding 2 years ago and last year. Over here, our Superboy. And if you were listening last week, we have a female that dropped from a seed from 2 years ago. This thing popped up last year, barely didn't flower, grew about 6 feet, 8 feet. It's a Comet and Rocky cross. The purple here is the male, and that purple big giant shoot, let's see, about 3-footer, is the male Superboy. And there's some other sprouts coming up on the ground. So I'm probably decided to leave her here. They'll be a nice little couple. At least engaged for now. See if they get married after this year. And this was basically a seed that just coned that fell, and the seed popped by itself. So we're going to let it grow, see what comes. And we still have spots over here we're going to plant this week. It's supposed to be cold tonight. The weather's really changed here. Just in the last 15 minutes, it's got cold. You can see all the litter that's fell on the ground. And it was 60, 70 degrees yesterday. They say it's going to rain and might have thunder showers, but our hops plants need it. It's really dry, and the plants love the rain.
Hi guys, my name's Victoria, and today we're gonna plant sunflowers. These are orange ones, big ones, small, big, small.
Okay, so here we are, folks, and although this is not hops, one thing that we usually do each year is we always plant sunflowers around somewhere near our hop yard because they attract bees, and we love bees to make honey and to pollinate our flowers, and they are mostly beautiful.
Yeah, and there are even one bee in this.
Let's see. Yeah, look, they got bees even on the package. All right, so let's get planting. We're going to show you how we do it. All right, so the way we plant our sunflower seeds is we use these little kits that they sell in any Home Depot or garden store, and they have these little peat pellets. First, we start with these little ones, the thin ones, right there, yeah. And then once we add water, they get big and fat, and they look just like the big fat ones.
This one.
And then over here on the side, our tray has the pellets when they're already wet, and we're ready to put our seeds in. So let's do it. Okay, once I get the seeds in the peat pellets, Vivi pushed them all down, and now she closes the little dirt on top of the peat pellet to make sure that the seeds stay moist. So folks, I'm bringing this up about us planting sunflower seeds because I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. Keep your family involved in your hops. And sometimes when you have little kids, they might want to plant flowers or some vegetables around the garden, not just hops. But this will keep your kids entertained, it'll keep them educated, and most important, it'll keep them off of the iPad. Ay, ay, ay. You like gardening with Daddy?
Yes.
Okay. So back to hops, folks. See you later, V.
Bye.
Dirty fingers. Well, here they are. We have the advantage that we have a grow room, but you could just put your seeds in the windowsill. It's really important to keep them moist. We have these little domes. A real good reason why I brought up these flowers is there's lots of beneficial flowers to help hops growers, folks. Flowers that will attract a lot of the bugs that we don't want. Japanese beetles or spotted lanternflies now in the northeast of the United States. Even spider mites and thrips. Tons of bugs that if we plant the right kind of plants, we can really attract the bugs to the other plants and not our hops. Check it out in some of the guides. Not even hops growers guides, but some of the other guides online. It's really important to try to do natural ways to prevent the bugs from eating our hops without just throwing a bunch of chemicals at them. So keep that in mind. All right, back to hops growing. Hey guys, back here at the female hopyard with our ladies. But I wanted to talk about our Superboy here. I mentioned last week or the week before that I made this cute little garden area for Superboy with this little plastic fence. And check him out. He's really going almost 3 feet on pretty much all bull shoots, but it's a male. Not too worried about it. One thing I noticed, I broke the tip off. I've been cutting tons of branches. Look right next door. There's our bonfire area. Yesterday and the day before I cut, there's branches laying everywhere around here. Hops World, it's a mess. But I really cleaned up the background for the sunshine. There's still some branches over here, but what is this? Over here. Aha! There is the reason why I made the little garden around Superboy. It's your fault. Friends, this is Quinn. This is Victoria's little baby. And apparently I'm Grandpa. Grandpa. Anyway, Quinn, I realized, was making a little spot right here next to Superboy for her, it's a little girl, little spot, special little area. So we decided to fence him in, Superboy, so she can no longer make her duties there. But check out these plants, killing it down the row here. Way down the end, Centennial, Triple Pearl. But we're about to hack them, folks. Like we said, we're going to chop these big commercial varieties, our Zeus here, because we want the little ones that we planted last year really to control the top wire, basically. Okay, Quinn, no getting into the hops. She seems to stay out of the areas that are fenced with the wood, so I'm not too concerned with her being out here with me. She's really a nice little companion, actually. We love her. All right, let's get to work. Well, I should probably make some kind of a salad or something out of these shoots. That'll be for another video. But check it out. One thing I want to mention, I'm going to gather them up. I use a new razor blade for every plant. I buy them online. When I got these years ago, it was $1,000 for $6. So it'll be a long time till I use 1,000 razor blades. Chinook, chopped. Now these are our own varieties, looking good. Nugget, I should chop, I will. That other shoot coming out and this one here. I miss our own variety, Triumph versus Rocky, kicking. Another one, another. And come down here, these were bombing. I'm sure they'll come back, Triple Pearl and Centennial. So while I'm at it, I'm not sure, it doesn't look like this thing's coming back. It's like right there, maybe. I'm gonna let it go a little while. A couple here that are looking kind of shady. But that's the whole idea, is the ones that don't last through the winter, goners. These are open pollinations here, looking good, 3 of them. Bam. Over this side, this is probably the saddest thing. Our pubescent hasn't popped. One thing I'll mention and show you this right here. Humulus lupulus japonicus. Another one here, and there are tons of them actually. And folks, this is the type of hops that grows wild around here at this point. It's an invasive species, and I planted a plant that I got seeds from. Actually mailed from Japan, believe it or not. And this was 2 years ago. I took the plant out because it would seed itself and keep popping. But all these little sprouts are hops. And they sprouted on their own from 2 years ago, because last year I had no plant. Amazing. But back to our Comet Rocky crosses. Look at the shape of them leaves, folks. Some serious Neo-Mexicano. Another one that looks more typical Comet. Another, I think this one right here, or that one was, I gotta look it up. Mellow Yellow, I still haven't planted nothing. These two, I pulled some plants out, are experimentals. That leaf looks funky. Definitely not symmetrical, and I thought it was eaten. Oh, maybe it is. Broken off or something. Compared to that, I don't know. These are supposed to be same seeds. I'm not sure nothing about them. There's one of our open pollinations. Really stretching. These here too, same thing. And these are same seeds given to me by a friend, and I thought they were all the same. Could that be the same mother and father? I'm not sure what they are. We'll see if they produce. Last year they sucked. He swears give it another year. So there's second chance. Down here to our Comet versus Rocky. I'm not going to wait too much longer here to plant all the hops babies, our new varieties. Something I want to show you that I found over here next to our wood pile. It's pretty interesting. You see that? Now that shoot, there's no way that's from a seed from this past year. That's a 2-year-old plant. It's got to be. And look right next to it. It's another little one. It looks more like a seedling, but for you guys that don't know, our OP, which means open pollination crosses, were actually little plants that I found all in the yard here, and mostly in this little grass area under this tree in this spring, because in 2018 I left 40 different varieties of females and 10 males all grow and seed, and I never picked them. I left them all standing up here, so the wind, most of them, the seeds blew here. I never really planned on having these plants, but they all popped up and I figured they were really well adapted. So I planted them in summer, really killer. But regardless, I actually took some seeds from each plant that I wanted, specific crosses. But anyway, back to this. This has got to be from 2 years ago, and I never noticed it, or I chopped it with the lawnmower last year. But both of these plants I'm going to pull out of here and plant and see what comes of them. We'll have to give them some special names because, darn, way out here about 20 feet from the hops yard under this old, almost dead tree we're trying to hang on to for shade over on this side of the hop yard. As it is, the sun comes across the sky from here, from left to right, facing south. So this side of the tree doesn't give any shade to the hop yard. But in the back here, I cut part of this tree. You can see it was way thicker. A bunch of trees and bushes that were growing up over here. Oops. A tree right there, tree right there that's going. I'm going to try to get rid of that tree and that tree and just have that one pine tree, because the sun comes across late in the fall and it gets shade from them trees. And we want sunshine. So I hope you liked our vlog this week, folks. Another one in the books. We'll see you next week. Subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, we're going to have a couple good tips this week about planting rhizomes and about training your hops plant on the string. Cheers to life.